Not all native pollinators are big and bold. Some are kind of small. If you're looking for big and bold, check out my videos on compass flower and cup plant. But today we're going to look at Jumpseed. Jumpseed is a tiny little flower that loves the shade. Hey, I'm the Iowa Prairie Girl. I'm coming to you from Saragota County. It's the very end of August, and I'm actually in my front yard. I have a catalpa tree growing in my front yard, and I noticed that Jumpseed was growing underneath it. So I thought, what the hey, I might as well make a shade pollinator garden along with the Jumpseed. So hey, if you want to learn more about this cool little plant that you might find in the woods or in the shade, but you could also add it to your wildflower garden, stick around. We're going to talk about Jumpseed. So Jumpseed is one of those plants that's pretty easy to ignore or not notice if you're walking through the woods until it grows to be pretty big and they might even hang over the trail. So the spikes grow to be 4 to 16 inches long, and that's when you start to notice them, is when they get really long and they're hanging over. They can even actually form colonies, and so they get kind of dense. So here we have a little spike, and you can see it's got little tiny flowers on it. And as I'm sitting here with all these jump seeds, there's just all kinds of little insects, little bees swarming around me here. So you can see that the flowers grow alternate on the spike. They're tiny little flowers. And usually it's one flower in each location, and they grow pretty sparingly on the spike until the top, towards the peak. Then they kind of get a little more dense. And usually it's just one flower, but I notice here on this one, there can be like 2 to 3 flowers on a location for the flowers. The tiny little teardrop shaped flowers are about 1/8 of an inch long, and they're white to a pale green. Sometimes you might find some that are a little pinkish. There is a non-native Jumpseed plant that does have pinkish red flowers, but the natives are white or whitish green. And then they have 4 to 5 stamens that protrude out of the little flower, and on the tips of those you have your anthers, which are kind of a whitish yellow color. Now each flower does have a little stem, but each flower, the stem is covered with a sheath, and so you really can't see the stem to the flower. Jumpseed in Iowa starts to bloom in July, and it'll bloom into September. Now the flowers on the spike start to bloom at the bottom, and then they go on up towards the top of the spike. And a whole colony will be blooming for about 2 months. And they will form colonies either from the seeds dispersing, or they also have rhizomes that will spread, and so you can get a pretty dense colony of Jumpseed. Now the reason it's called Jumpseed is because each of these little flowers will dry into a capsule, a little seed capsule. And the interesting thing I find about it is when it dries, so the stamens that protrude out, when it dries, those stamens you can still notice the stamens sticking out of the dried seed capsule. So why it's called Jumpseed is that when the seed capsules are dry and ripe, when the spike is brushed against, or probably when it's just so ripe that they just have to burst open, the seeds can jump several feet away from the plant. So I stepped into the woods here so I can show you some other Jumpseed plants. So let's take a look at the leaf on this one. So the leaf is real broad, and it's a simple leaf. It can grow to be 6 inches long and about 3 inches wide. It's ovate shaped, so it's round at the base, and then it comes to a point at the tip there. It's toothless, so the margins are real smooth. The leaves alternate as they come on the plant. And then the veinage is pinnate, which means it kind of looks like a feather. And according to what I read, they really couldn't decide whether it was hairy or not. But the top of this leaf is kind of hairy. It's kind of a smooth, it's kind of a fun feel to it. So in the springtime on the plants, the tops of the leaves will have a burgundy color or a deep red color chevron shape to it. And a chevron is that V shape like you see on a military uniform, and I'll have a picture of that as well. So on the top of the leaves, they have a maroon pattern to it that disappears as the plant matures. So you can see the leaves grow alternate on the stem. The leaves themselves have just a little bit of a stalk to them. And then each of these leaves have a sheath here that can turn kind of a woody brown color, and it's actually kind of woody feeling. And that kind of gives the plant kind of a knobby, or one of the words they use is knobby knees. So it kind of has that as the stalk. The stalk is green, it's kind of smooth, but it also develops these sheaths, and it gives it kind of a knobby knee look. The plant will grow to be 1 to 2 feet tall, and as they grow and as they spread out and form a colony, I really like how the foliage provides really nice habitat to small animals, small birds. I just really like how that covers the ground and provides that habitat. Other names for jumpseed are Virginia knotweed and woodland knotweed. It is in the smartweed family, but it is the only shade-loving smartweed. All other smartweeds like the sun, and this one prefers the shade. So again, you're going to find it in the woods or any kind of shady spot. It does come up and by itself in disturbed areas, so it does disperse pretty easily. This jumpweed here is in my woods, and I didn't plant it, and this is an area that we used to be farmland and that we've put into a windbreak. So this jumpseed came up on its own here. So I talked about habitat with the foliage, how this provides habitat for those small animals and birds. The seeds are also edible for birds, so the birds will eat those, and I'm sure little mice and what have you will eat the seeds as well. And as I mentioned in the beginning of my video, it's a pollinator. So lots of little bumblebees or little bees, honeybees, leafcutter bees, bumblebees, butterflies, and ladybugs all like jumpseed. I didn't find a lot of human uses for jumpseed. The Cherokee did use it to make a cure for whooping cough, but that's about all I found. Well, hey, thanks for watching my video. I hope that you learned something about jumpseed. It is the end of August, so I hope that you can get out and take a walk in the woods this fall, and you can show off your knowledge about jumpseed with those around you. And as the seeds dry, give it a little test. If you find a jumpseed spike that has dry seeds on it, you can run your hand up the spike and see how far those seeds will jump. So again, thanks for watching. Check out my other videos and share my videos with others and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And again, I hope that you get out in nature, and I hope that you get to see something wonderful when you do. It always feels like when we talk about wildflowers, we talk about pollinators as well. They kind of go hand in hand. So hey, if you want to learn more about pollinators here in the Midwest, I do have 2 children's books out. One is called Gentian Wakes the Mason Bees. And in this book, my little hero here, who is Gentian, she's a little prairie fairy, and her best buddy, Rooster, they discover that the mason bees have not woken up for the spring. And so Gentian goes on an adventure learning all about mason bees and how she can help them. And so you and your reader can also learn about the mason bees and learn some fun activities that you can do just in your own backyard to help our native bees. And then in my second book, we have Gentian helps the monarchs, and of course we have the monarch butterfly and the common milkweed, or any milkweed. But in this book we talk about common milkweed, and you learn all about the importance of common milkweed that it's so essential for the survival of the monarch butterfly. So in this book we've got Gentian again and Rooster, and they're on an adventure to help a monarch butterfly that can't find any milkweed in the park. And so you'll learn all about the monarch butterfly and the adventures that they have with their migration pattern. So hey, we've got Gentian wakes the mason bees and Gentian helps the monarchs. You can find them both on Amazon, or you can ask your local bookstore to get them for you and support your local bookstore, and then also ask them to put a couple extra copies on their shelf. Thank you for your support.